People will ask me, what's the thing about you that's least known? Number one, I happen to be a nice person. I happen to be very generous with people that need help. I do. I like that. I love helping people. And also, I'm very honorable. I think things I say are somewhat controversial, but they're always true. I mean, always true. They're generally true, or at least I believe them to be true. And some people may think that's provocative. But people think I enjoy provoking people or needling people. It's not that I do, but I'm, again, a very honest person. So I say that, and it provokes some people, and some people love what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is the truth. Because I do say the truth, and I do say what I want. Now, I'm a smart guy. I went to the Wharton School of Finance. I don't have to say those things. But I am an honorable person. I'm an honest person, so I say what is appropriate to say. In other words, I'm not a good liar. Politically, that may be a huge disadvantage for me because I say what I want and I say what's true. If you have a country, you have to have a border. So if somebody wants to come in through the legal channels, that's fine. But you can't just walk across and say, okay, good, everybody's a citizen.
Yeah.
You come from India, you come from China, you come from anywhere. You go to Harvard, you go to Wharton, number one in the class, you graduate, they throw you out of the country. You go back to China, and you beat the brains out of the people in the United States. In that case, I'm all for staying. You know, when you have education, when you're educated in our country, and you're a wonderful student, I think those people should be allowed to stay. These people were serious about making sure everything was perfect. I respected that. I told my people, I respect what they're doing. I think it's great. Some of the people that we're getting in the United States are people you don't want. We're getting criminals, we're getting people from jails, they're releasing them, we're like a dumping ground. They're releasing them into the United States, into the southern borders, all over the place. And you have to take those people and get them out, and you have to be tough. And we're not tough about it. And I don't know, is it that we're not tough, or are they just incompetent? Because I have a feeling there's a lot of incompetence beyond toughness. I think, you know, experience is just a wonderful thing. Learning from experience is a wonderful thing. If you can learn from other people's experience, that's even better, though. If you see other people making mistakes, learn from it. You don't have to make those mistakes yourself. Let me just tell you, what I would do when my children, when they were very young, from the time they could speak, no drugs, I would tell them. No drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. Every week. And I'd drum it in. And I have a lot of friends who have very talented children. I have a lot of friends who have very untalented children too. They'll never make it whether they take drugs or not, okay? But I have friends that have very talented children, but they started drinking or they take drugs. These people, you know, it's a competitive world out there, as you folks know. These people are at a huge disadvantage, And so when people ask me, you know, your kids, they're doing well, they're in business, they're making deals better. First of all, Ivanka's outstanding. She's done an amazing job, as you know, and she's great. She went to the Wharton School. She was a top model. She did fantastically, and one day, boom, she got into the Wharton School of Finance, and she just cut it off like it was nothing. But I tell people, it's such a competitive world, such a hard, that if your kids are taking drugs or alcohol, they're a huge disadvantage. I get paid a lot of money to make speeches, and I give the money to charities, and I'm happy about it and all this. But one of the words I've added over the last couple of years was pressure. Most people do not have the ability to handle pressure. A lot of people don't have the ability to handle pressure. And I say you have to learn that about yourself, because I really believe that to a large extent is an innate ability.
Yeah.
You have to learn that about yourself, because if you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you're going to be very successful, you're going to have ups, you're going to have downs, you're going to make mistakes. You have to have the ability to handle pressure. And if you don't, you should get a great job and enjoy your life. There's nothing wrong with it. But a word pressure is turning out to be more of an important word, and more people are responding to it, because a lot of people that I watch have no ability to handle pressure when times are bad. And I could give you so many examples, and they fail. And I told you, I've had friends that went bankrupt and they've never been able to come back. You know, they've never been able to, and I never went bankrupt. But I will tell you, I've had tough times like everybody. I don't consider them tough times, I consider it a learning experience. You know, I learned a lot in the early 90s when everyone was going down the tubes. The real estate markets had totally collapsed. You couldn't get 10 cents from the banks. It's a long time ago. But early 90s, and I came up with an expression, survive till 95. And that was a great expression. It was covered all over the place, survive till 95. I get a lot of credit for that crazy line, but it's true. If you could survive till 95, and I was able to more than survive and did some deals during that period, and then all of a sudden in 95 the market started turning and a lot of things happened. And when I went through tough times, I learned a lot. First of all, I learned a lot about myself. I learned I could take it because I had friends that went through tough times, and some committed suicide, some just went into a shell, some went home and said, "Mama, don't let me out in the real world again." So what you do is you learn about yourself a lot. So when you go through tough periods, you want to get through it, you want to get done, but think about it as a learning experience. When I was riding very high in the 80s, because I was a big darling of the 80s, there was an article in one of the major business magazines, "Everything he touches turns to gold." And I believed it, but I was very young. And I did lose focus. I believe, because I always made money in down markets. I've always done the best in down markets. The real estate business is basically an old-fashioned business. It's get the best location, get the best building, make sure you manage it properly, get great tenants. You know, it's never going to change. Now it can be computerized, and we do all sorts of things environmentally, and we save money on oil, and we save money on this and that, and we fight certain things that we should fight. I like it because you can touch it, you can feel it. You know, it's there. I own a building. I own Trump Tower on 57th Street. But with, technology, I look at some of these technology companies, and what is it? They come up with an idea. 2 months later, the idea is no good. In the meantime, they've sold their company for $700 million. They're 21 years old, and they can't read or write. I'm looking at some of those deals and some of the mergers where they're buying these companies. I'm looking at numbers where a company makes no money, and it's worth hundreds of billions and billions of dollars, and it makes no money and has no prospect to make any money, but they value it highly. Now, who knows? I like real estate. When I went to school, 2 people. One was really smart, the other one was not so smart. The not so smart one went to work for a big oil company. The really smart one went to work for an airline. Well, let me tell you, the not so smart one is a very rich man today and does very well and heads up a company and he makes money. And the guy running the airline it's tough, but he was smarter. He was smarter, he was tougher, he had everything. He even looked better. Not that that matters. He had everything. He failed, and the other guy's a big success. Look, I could give you the stock answer. You got to love what you do, all that stuff. Okay, But one of the answers is, and that I think is very important, is, and especially as an entrepreneur, you have to pick a business that works, because there are some businesses that are very tough. Now, if you don't like it, cancel that. Are you able to sleep at night and get up the next morning and go out and just absolutely destroy the competition? Because if you don't have that ability, it's very hard to be an entrepreneur.